Witam wszystkich serdecznie. Dzisiaj ja MTV Rap z Gangstarem. Nareszcie udało nam się zrobić z kultowym zespołem wywiad. No.
Respect. Sure.
Okay. First my question. So, how do you like Poland? Second time here, and how do you like this teammate?
First of all, the crowd was really dope. You know, a lot of enthusiastic fans, excitement. There was about 4,000 people at the concert, so it was good to see all those people. Like when I was on stage and they put the lights on, I could see all the people way in the back. That was really, really dope, man. And because when I first went to the hall for sound check, I said, yeah, this is a big place. But I didn't think it was going to be people all the way to the back. So that was very, very exciting for me. And, you know, the sound was good. And it was the last show of the tour, so the energy was incredible, you know what I mean? So it was dope. And it's interesting to see how, even though we don't speak the same languages, that people respond to hip-hop, no matter where they're from. Hip-hop is everywhere in the world now. Trust me, hip-hop is in Iraq right now, you know what I mean? So it's everywhere. But, you know, it's always a thing for Gangstar that we will go wherever people want us to go to play, we go.
Tell me about music. You put this second single, the single with Jada Hits. Tell me why that was the song on the second single, because we used to hear the Gangstar with hardcore beats, and all the singles was like from the streets, and this one is with mainstream guy, you know, and this for everyone was like, oh,
okay. Let me explain to you. The audience in Europe, and particularly even over here in Poland, has a little bit of misconception between commercial and underground. Just because a rapper is commercial and selling a lot doesn't mean he ain't from the street. Jadakiss is one of the most, he's probably more street than me. So, you know, you can't go by record sales or radio play. He happens to have, Rough Riders happens to be some of the smartest cats in the game as far as how to get their artists pushed. Biggie was dope, but if Biggie didn't have Puffy, rest in peace to Biggie, if Biggie didn't have a mind like Puffy behind him to push the marketing and promotion, then he would have been underground. You understand? So Jadakiss is his success, the Lock's success, is a result of good marketing and promotion, which what Gangstar needs.
Don't you think it was better, like in old school, that the skills was your only promotion?
The problem is, Jadakiss is he's one of the best rappers in the game.
Yeah, okay. Like,
it's his style. That all the demos I get in New York, they all want to sound like him.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of artists are copying Jadakiss's style because he does a lot of metaphors and he does a lot of punchlines in his rhymes.
Most creative.
We don't never work with anybody that can't really rhyme because we know real artists and we know real MCs. Jadakiss is a real MC. He's dope, and we show the difference between a young guy like Jadakiss
generations
and
my
our generation
together.
Yeah, you know, because in New York, Jadakiss is very, very, very popular, but he's not commercial. He's very big in the streets.
And also we got Snoop on there, and Snoop is crazy commercial appeal, but Snoop has what? Longevity, like Gangstar. Snoop has wisdom in the game because he's been in the game, and he's reinvented himself, and he's consistent. So, you know, Snoop did 2 songs with Primo on his last album, and then he called Primo and asked him to be on the album.
Okay.
So you know, you gotta understand. To us, it's not commercial and underground. It's not commercial and underground. It's, are you dope?
Yeah.
Are you dope or are you whack?
There's underground people that are whack.
Okay, so.
Oh no, I'm talking. There's underground artists that are whack, and then there's commercial artists that are whack. So don't think just because somebody's underground that they're dope. There's a lot of underground shit that's
garbage.
That's garbage.
Let me say this: you can't compare a discussion with Gangstar with discussions with other rappers or DJs or producers from our era or before our era who have maybe, you know, bitterness.
No, it's not that.
Let me explain. Because a lot of dudes are bitter and they don't like the new school, they don't like this, they don't, and that's why they are in the situation they are in, because they don't adapt to the times. When you have success in the hip-hop game, sometimes they get stuck right in that moment, in that era, then they can't go to the next, when the next year comes, they can't change, they can't evolve. Gang Starr, we evolve, we change. That's why anybody you talk to about us is gonna have love for us, whether they're old school or new school, because we appreciate the music like fans. We don't say, oh, we're Gang Starr. We don't just listen to Gang Starr. When we finish a song, we listen to it, then we listen to everything else. We buy everybody's stuff. He could get the stuff free, but he buys it. Everybody's stuff. Yeah. So when you talk to us, just because of our age or whatever, or how long we've been in the game, we're very youthful minded. That's the difference between us and, so if you talk to these other guys, they're gonna go, oh, we don't know. We ain't like that. They whine too much. They're like little crybabies. We don't do that.
If you get from the first album, Gangster, like from, you know, No More Mr. Guys Guy and No Nice Guy, after Daily Operation, Hard to Earn, Step in the Arena first, Hard to Earn second, and, you know, Moment of Truth, and you got the magic. You can hear that everything is in progress, you know, like in the first Gangster was the jazz samples, you can hear some kind of Brubeck, Hancock, or another classic jazz. You know, your work on jazz matters with
Well, let me explain something about that. Let me tell you something about that. Gang Starr came out at an era when everybody was sampling 70s funk, James Brown, and the whole world was like, okay, hip-hop's gonna end after the James Brown runs out. And we said, okay, for real? No, because we can dig in the crates and find jazz records and whatever, right? But we didn't do that. People like, even before Premier, and myself, there was people like Stetson Sonic, Jazzy J and Fresh Prince, Eric B. and Rakim, Marley Marl, all using jazz, 45 King, everybody. Then it came the Premier, Showbiz and AG, Pete Rock, Q-Tip and Ali, Large Professor, Lord Finesse, all these guys. And what happened was they were doing that to create hip-hop, not to create jazz rap. And when the media, after our third album, the media started saying, Gang Starr, jazz rap, especially in Europe. And I said, no. Because if that happened, we would not, listen, we would not be here talking to you if we accepted this. Because when someone outside of hip-hop culture says this is, just like when they say this is gangster rap or this is this, it might not be gangster rap. You know what I mean? It's like, how can someone who is not from where we're from tell us who we are? That's impossible.
Yeah, but I mean,
no, I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to explain what happened was that we were just doing that to make music. It could have been the sound of the toilet flushing or the cell phone or something like that to be Gang Starr. But what I did in 2000, I mean not 2000, what I did after the third album, which was 93, was to create Jazzmatazz to protect Gang Starr. So Gang Starr could be more than jazz hip hop, because Gang Starr is not jazz hip hop. When we gave them the Step in the Arena album, the label was like, oh God, we want jazz hip hop. Why you give us this? Just to get a rep? They didn't understand it. That's the most classic record till to this day, one of the most classic records made in hip hop. And it's not jazz. Jazzmatazz was to protect Gang Starr. Then Jazzmatazz, we say, okay, we were pioneers from this era. So now we get the jazz guys who we sample and things, and that's great. But for Gang Starr, it's just pure hip hop.
I do tracks. I like to always reinvent myself. You can't come out sounding the same, because if you do, you're stagnating yourself to where you don't go up and elevate. So every time somebody either starts to sound more like what I do, or make beats like what I do, or scratch like I do, I go ahead and jump ahead, just like we did when Gang Starr, when we jumped out with our first album. I was doing jazz samples way before anybody was really doing it, and then everybody started sampling jazz samples. So I said, all right, I'm gonna leave that and go to another level. I started using sounds like weird space sounds and stuff like that. Then from there, when we kept getting labeled, I went back to the funk and started looping up, sounds like that. We take sounds from anything, but we make a hip-hop beat. Hip-hop beats are not just made out of jazz samples. They're made out of anything. If you sneeze right now, I could take that sound, or if you cough, I can take the cough and make a beat. Like, I can make a beat out of anything. So we always elevate our style and reinvent our style. We like Guru said, we update our formula. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at You Know My Steez. That's not no jazz samples, and it's banging. You Know My Steez is a dope record, but it used a Joe Simon sample. You know what I'm saying? Joe Simon's not a jazz artist. He's a soul singer. But the way I manipulated the sample, boom, sound like a Gang Starr track. So we can take anything.
What kind of sampler are you using for the beats and?
What kind of sample or sampler?
Samplers.
I'm still using the same sampler, the S950. It's in they don't even make it anymore. It came out like in 1982, and it's you know, I still use it. When it breaks, I take it to the shop and get it fixed. Or I buy old ones from other people. You know, Freddie Fox gave me 2. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at that. Freddie Fox makes his own beats in his own studio. He gave me 2 samplers because he's like, I don't use that no more. I got the computer and this and that. But I was like, this is what I use. He said, hey, you can have these 2. I've used the same equipment since I met Guru, and look how my music has changed. People think I got all this brand new equipment, same old dusty equipment, but the mind makes the machine work. It's all about what the mind makes the machine. The machine can't do anything unless I tap it out. So that shows you how infinite the mind is. The mind is infinite. You know, you could lift this whole building up if your mind was put there. You'll probably get a hernia, but you know, the mind is that big. You know what I'm saying? This little thing right here can do anything.
How important is a DJ in hip-hop now?
A DJ is always important because of the fact that, you know, we're a band. You know what I'm saying? That we're the backing of the whole thing, and most artists that perform don't DJ just straight live. I mean, we've had records skip. I'll catch it. You know, Guru's a professional MC, so he knows the art of MCing with just a DJ, to where, you know, we know how to overcome any obstacles in that format because we were raised on Run DMC and the Cold Crush, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, Treacherous 3. You know what I'm saying? You name it. Big Daddy Kane had Mr. C. You know what I'm saying? Even when Biggie performed, he had Clark Kent from Dana Dane's camp DJing for him. You know, like DJ Scratch from EPMD was DJing for Jay-Z because they know they gotta get bona fide DJs when they spin.
Man, Grandmaster D from Houdini. Yeah, I remember when we used to go to the Fresh Fest. I didn't have no record deal then. We go to the Fresh Fest and you see them. I was way in the back, but you could see them. The bodyguard lift him in the air, and he was like cutting. Yeah. He was scratching like, yo, that was crazy.
Mixmaster Ice from UTF.
Oh man.
Oh man. You know, I saw him the other day in Puerto Rico, and he was like, man, I always bring my turntables everywhere I go. He said, I don't even rock on other people's. I bring my turntables. That's what I do. I bring my own turntables. You know?
I mean, and so Busta Rhymes still rocks with the DJ. Scratch-a-Tour. Big up to him. You know, it's gonna, the DJ's always gonna be important, no matter how they try to take him out of the game. That's why they had to make CDs that you could scratch, because otherwise they weren't gonna sell. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's all about the DJ makes it happen. And that's why on our records, especially the owners, when Premier's giving the speech, that's why he's telling the DJs not to stop being robots, because everything on radio now, especially in the States, in hip-hop, it's paid. Everything is paid to play. This is why you only hear certain stuff. Like, that's why, like, if we were on a label that knew how to play that game, then maybe we would be more commercial. But we would still be doing the same music. So this is why we don't discriminate against commercial and underground. It's like
Eminem,
you know,
he has Green Lantern is a DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Green Lantern is one of the best DJs out there. 50 Cent has a DJ. You know, like
Who Kid.
Yeah, DJ Who Kid. So certain people that understand the whole aspect of a good group and putting together the format of hip hop, but we all do it differently. And Gang Starr, we gonna always do it raw and pure.